In the mid-1980s, the National Institute on Aging created and funded Alzheimer's Disease Research Centers, or ADRCs, to tackle the growing public health challenges of dementia in the aging population by understanding the biology of the disease, improving early diagnosis, developing treatments, and supporting patients and caregivers.
The UCSD ADRC was one of the 5 original centers funded by NIA. So really, we are one of the 5 oldest centers in the U.S.
Doctors Robert Terry and Robert Katzman founded the center, followed by Dr. Leon Thal, whose transformational approach emphasized collaboration, innovation, and therapeutic development, and a strong focus on care and support of patients and their families. His work laid the foundation for UCSD's lasting contributions to understanding the biology of Alzheimer's disease with an eye toward making the broadest possible impact on public health. The naming gift from Donald and Darlene Shiley accelerated Dr. Thal's efforts. Over its long and storied history, the ADRC has helped to change the practice of medicine, affecting the lives of millions of patients and families.
And in particular, in these last 20 years, with the foundational gift of Donald and Darlene Shiley in memory of her mother, Dee Marcos, it's really pushed us to the next level, and the impacts that one can make with that kind of thoughtful gift that's directed to allow us to take innovative and risky approaches that are going to really shake up this field. Something you couldn't do at the NIH with NIH funding, you really can do with philanthropic funding.
I think there's always a personal connection, I think, with most large gifts, and that was for us at the time a large gift. At the time, my mother had just been diagnosed by Leon Thal with Alzheimer's. And like a lot of people at that time, we didn't know what was wrong with her. We just didn't know. And I finally, got her in to see him. And then he told us about the work that he was doing. And I was impressed. I think everyone who ever met Leon Thal, was impressed.
The ADRC serves as the centerpiece of all of the Alzheimer activity that takes place on the campus of UCSD. UCSD distinguishes itself for having one of the deepest Alzheimer programs that exists probably in the world. It started with Leon Thal's vision and leadership across the Alzheimer's Disease Cooperative Study, the Shiley-Marcos Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, the graduate studies in neuroscience, and the Department of Neuroscience itself.
In the last 20 years, the Shiley-Marcos ADRC has had an impact in many different areas of Alzheimer's disease. On the clinical front, we have identified and contributed to methods to assess memory more accurately and to operationalize and come up with a better approach to diagnose mild cognitive impairment, a very early stage of Alzheimer's where therapies may be more impactful.
We were one of the first centers in the world that described the clinical and neuropsychological characteristics of dementia with Lewy bodies. We were involved in the very earliest clinical trials related to Alzheimer's disease in terms of cholinergic treatments for the disease.
The chance to study human disease in human tissue is really quite valuable, and being able to facilitate that at a special place like the Shiley-Marcos ADRC is fairly unique. I'm also proud of what we've been able to do for families. We provide those types of reports back to people after they engage in brain donation, so they get a lot of answers anyway that they might have been looking for a while.
I think the Shiley-Marcos ADRC has got a great impact over the years in learning more about aging and different biomarkers associated with aging, as well as how bilingualism may affect dementia and dementia rates. So I really think it has had a great impact.
There is a unique opportunity here at the ADRC to study how bilingualism interacts with healthy aging and with Alzheimer's disease. And the Career Development Award that started my career was to develop better techniques for assessment of linguistically diverse individuals. And so the contribution of the Latino cohort has been to help develop those methods and procedures, including a naming test that is now being used by all ADRCs across the United States,
I've been at UCSD for a little over 5 years, and soon after I arrived, I received a pilot grant from the ADRC for my work on sex differences in Alzheimer's disease. And that really launched a series of grants and research enterprises, which have been very successful, thankfully. And I think we've learned a huge amount about why women and men differ in their risk and expression of Alzheimer's disease.
I think one of the biggest impacts the Shiley-Marcos ADRC has made in the field is training the next generation, or training multiple generations really, of leaders in the field, because of the really high caliber training programs between the UCSD Neurosciences program, the UCSD SDSU Joint Doc program in clinical psychology, the VA internship in neuropsychology. A lot of those trainees come and have research experiences at the ADRC. They become interested in research in aging and dementia, and they go on to be leaders in the field. And that is a big and lasting legacy that the center will make.
What I've tried to do with the chair and how I've really envisioned it is to support the next upcoming stars in neuroscience. And over the last 2 years in which I've been able to serve as the chair, I have used those funds to support 3 outstanding women in our neuroscience graduate program. And these women all come from unique backgrounds and do unique work tied to our mission of Alzheimer's disease research, prevention, and treatment.
Bringing together these brilliant scientists and leading the way in biomarker discovery, molecular pathology, and treatment. But on the other side, locally, bringing the patients into the arena, participating in clinical trials, and providing for them and their caregivers and families a lot of activities, information, really a lot of awareness and companioning careness. I think they really provide a belonging for these patients and a place where they can feel sustained during this very difficult journey.
The support group at ADRC is a little unusual than many of them out in the community. We meet weekly. Most places meet monthly. Without that support group, which I attended for about 8 years, I would not have been a sane human being. It gave me all the coping skills. It gave me all the strategies to think about, the planning, things that I needed to know, and it basically saved my life.
It is almost unthinkably large to consider 40 years of continuous funding, commitment to participants, trust, community engagement, and all of the different elements that have to come together to support persons living and at risk with Alzheimer's disease in our community. I cannot think of a more impactful effort than the efforts that have been successfully launched and maintained through the Shiley-Marcos ADRC.
It's been an opportunity to connect with other people at our center. There are so many very smart people that are at our center that are dedicated to the dementia research, and that includes faculty, staff, and students.
Really, this program is able to connect scientists across the entire community and push forward the field.
I guess I would like to see in the next 20 years the research really hone in on where we need to go. Is it tau? Is it what is it, amyloid? What are we supposed to be doing? I'd like to see one of our researchers get a Nobel Prize for that. Not for the legacy of the name, but just that it happened here.